Fable was finally truly revealed at the Xbox Developer Direct, and it looks absolutely incredible. Visuals are top of class, the DNA of the legacy Fable is kept true to form, and some burning questions about combat, characters, and the world are finally revealed. Playground Games breaks down the details, and we'll see when the release date comes for Fable. Fable from Playground Games has finally been shown, and I've got more information and details beyond the Developer Direct. If you end up enjoying this video, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel, hit the bell to be notified of new content, and let's break down everything we know about Fable. Fable is a new beginning, a reboot, not beholden to the trilogy timeline or characters of the original Fable games on the Xbox and Xbox 360. Ralph Fulton, the producer for Playground Games and Fable, says we've always referred to this game as a new beginning because one of the things we were convinced of was that we had to reboot the franchise. So we've chosen not to be beholden to the timeline of the original games, the events, the characters, really just to allow ourselves freedom to build our own Albion. In classic Fable fashion, you begin the game as a child, and this is when your heroic powers will emerge. You will realize you're a hero and everything changes for you from that point. And from there, a time jump to an adult in Briar Hill in a starter village. For the rest of the game, you'll play as a mature adult in their prime. And this is one of the most burning questions that has been lingering for Fable from fans for several years, especially since the first initial reveal of the main player character has been such a controversy. Playground Games has finally shown us you will be able to pick your own custom preset character, being able to play as a female or a male hero. Once you've chosen your custom player character, leave your village, and you can go pretty much anywhere in a seamless, massive open world. They've also written the story with high stakes, but no ticking time bomb. And that's where the real events of the game start to unfold. The inciting incident, the thing that is the catalyst for your story that happens when your grandmother in the village you grew up in turns to stone by a mysterious stranger. You'll be suddenly alone in a village and forced to go out in the open world, and your motivation is to try and figure out what happened and reverse it. The only cue you have to this mysterious stranger, you only caught a glimpse of them at the start of the game, and finding the stranger seems to be the only thread you can pull and the only lead you can follow. The rest is open and up to you to explore this massive open world that is not level gated. They said that all enemies in the open world is freeform from the very start. There won't be any settlements or areas where you won't be able to take on enemies. And they said fun and exploration is imperative to the open world. And there's one last thing that your grandmother has said to you before she turned to stone, and that's Bowerstone, the Heroes Guild. And how at the Heroes Guild, this is where great heroes live. There's nothing forcing you along the main path because they want the player to have the permission to go anywhere in the game. You could go to their northerly village, go to Albion, get a job, settle down, and get married if you want. The story will wait for you, which is really important. There are rich side activities that the Fable games have always had. Before we talk more about world building and how you'll live in the world of Albion, we have to talk about combat. And this is where we finally get an extended look at how you will attack a broad range of enemies. The combat resembles a mix of Witcher 3 and Hogwarts Legacy. And enemies you will fight include Balverine, which are Fable's version of Wolverines, and fire-breathing chickens, hobs, which are goblins and trolls, risen skeletal enemies, and soldiers, and so much more. You have light and heavy combat attack combos with finishing kills and a mix of ranged and magic abilities. Combat is modernized to a face button by holding the right trigger and using special powers. And Playground only showed a couple of the main attacks, like the blades, which are magic swords which can be cast and seek out enemies, as well as a fireball. Some of the other combat mechanics that were not shown here in the Direct, but were shown in previous trailers, were the levitation spells, and you have an incredible bow and arrow that was really unexpected that gives you heavy and ranged attacks, as well as a machine gun like bow and arrow mechanic like we saw in Assassin's Creed Origins. Ralph Fulton says that they're taking the original game's mix of melee, ranged, and magic, with strength, skill, and will, meaning you will attack with light and heavy attacks and use parry to bring your enemies down in something they call style weaving combat. You should be able to strike with a sword and then hurl a fireball in smooth movement. So that's what they've set out to achieve, a creative combat system which is fluid enough to allow you frictionless, seamless swap from melee to ranged to magic without even a frame's delay on it. And we need to talk about the performance of Fable as it is being advertised to come to Xbox Series consoles, PS5, and PC. Everything shown here was at 4K 30 FPS with the highest fidelity, and many fans are complaining about choppy animations in combat, saying the combat looks rough and unfinished. Fable is being built on the Forza tech engine, which has pushed the Xbox One X and Xbox Series consoles in previous Forza games with a performance mode. The open world Forza Horizon 4 on Xbox One X back in 2018 had a performance mode at 60 FPS. It's very likely that a performance mode will be available for Xbox Series X and PS5 and Pro consoles. Playground Games is also likely just showing this game at its highest fidelity for this gameplay reveal, but I would expect to see 60 FPS combat feeling much better than what you see right here. Enemies are also able to hurt each other, making combat scenarios really chaotic, fun, and exciting. The Hob that accidentally killed his pal in the video just happened by accident when Playground Games was capturing the build for the Direct, and they put a strong emphasis on ownership of your character and actually having an impact in the world. You can romance, marry more than once, get divorced, and have children that grow your family. There are thousands of unique NPC villagers, all set with a morality and reputation system, and the world will change around you. Playground Games says there is no objective good and no objective evil. You can become a wealthy landowner and an evicting slumlord, and you'll be labeled a rich twat. Morality isn't just a sliding scale either. They've chosen to anchor this around the actions you do, and specifically the things that you do in Albion that are witnessed by at least one other person. So if things you do are seen by one or more people, you start to earn reputation for doing that one thing. And NPCs, with over 1,000 of them, have their own moral compass and will react to you differently whether you're trying to be good or evil. The same applies for being generous or being a bigamist or a thief, and there are even a significant number of reputations you can get. Not all NPCs will look at you the same. The living population, they call it, is a fascinating addition to the game. Previous trailers showed a mockumentary interview style with main characters, and this is real. This is a device they use throughout the game to recap big set-piece moments and their interaction with how you choose to resolve some of the main quests. Fable takes place across a massive open-world Albion, and you'll be able to traverse this organically on foot or on horseback. There are a few details that they are saving for later in the year. We have not seen any of the details about crafting or creating armor sets, customized weapons, or how you'll earn different powers throughout the game. The combat in Fable looks really good, but there's still some lingering issues, and their choice to not show us many of the different creative magical powers or different weaponry you can use outside of a sword and a hammer really leaves fans wondering how much they'll be able to do when they get hands-on with the game. Fable is set for autumn 2026, which is likely somewhere around September or October. Has an incredible pedigree of creating impressive games and visually stunning showcases. The British humor of the Fable series has been brought back to life, and we'll finally get to see what our hero can do when Fable comes out at the end of 2026. This is Colteastwood. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I've covered Fable for a long time, and I've had a lot of questions that have finally been answered, and I think Fable got a really good showing. I'm super excited about the combat, and I hope everything comes together because this looks like a massive open world. If you've played the Fable franchise or you know everything about it, it looks like some of those questions or concerns are finally being alleviated, and one big one was that character. I can't wait to create a semi-custom character and go out in this world and find out how many changes I can make in it. If you ended up enjoying this video, you can let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell to be notified of new weekly content. If you want to further support the Colteastwood channel, you can do that once you subscribe, or if you want to do even more, you can hit the join button below. Joining will get you early access for videos, some 10 to 12 hours before they go up public, allowing you to be in the comment section first, and also channel membership badges and special chat privileges online when we do the Ecstasy Podcast. The Ecstasy Podcast runs weekly live on Mondays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and Meg and I will break down all of the news from the Developer Direct. There are games I didn't even cover in this video because I wanted to talk about just Fable, but check out that show. It's also on demand on Spotify and Google Podcasts. Let me know what you think about Fable. Were you impressed? Do you still have some issues? If you do, write them down in the comment section below, because I've made videos about the character and everything we know about the game, and everyone always complained about that default main character girl. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and as you always do that, please be nice.